you.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Yay!
Hey.
I got this
Welcome
figured out.
aboard.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good,
Great.
good.
Hello.
Good,
Excited
good.
to have you. Excited, very excited.
All right. Thank you guys, and I apologize for all the times and stuff.
That's fine. That's fine. This is my team. This is DJ Silos
Oh,
Hello,
cool.
hello.
and my
Hey,
girl
what's
Lika
up?
over here.
What's up?
Hey.
How you doing? And I'm Rick.
And so, Rick, first and foremost, like the three of us are big fans of Mint Condition, like hands down, the baddest
Uh,
man in the land, of course.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. So we're gonna get into a few things. I'm Kim Dynasty Show, Dynasty Radio, NY,
Okay.
and I want to get into a few things. I want to find out what's going on with you. You know, what's going on with the band possibly getting back together, if it's a possibility, maybe.
Well, what's going on with me is I'm launching my first solo record, Truth
Okay.
Behind the Lies. You know, I'm speaking truth to power.
Yeah.
This record is about Black love. You know, when you meet a woman and you're like asking her, but she's the woman, and you're like, teach me how to love you. You know, show me I can trust you. You know, go blind to the others. You know,
Okay.
so I'm excited about this record. I never really thought about doing a solo record, but I was like, since I just so happens to have, co-written half of the last 4 out of 5 albums, I think I can do it,
Yeah.
So I decided to, to put this record together. And also, one other thing, and don't mean to go here, but it is something that, that's important to me and something that we need to talk about, period. And it's going to be something you don't normally hear from a man, but I'm actually talking about speaking on domestic violence in the
Oh,
record,
wow.
from a man perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
That's
Yeah,
huge.
we don't, there's not a lot of men that do that actually, unless it's, something negative that they want to throw out there,
Right.
but right.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's it happens on both sides.
Yeah.
One side depending on what state you're in, have more favor, because you can pretty much say whatever you want to say, and they're gonna roll. They're gonna roll with it. As soon as you walk in the court, you're guilty.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
We were just talking about Tamar Braxton's boyfriend. He had filed domestic violence charges, and I was reading just the comments in the shade room, and he was getting slaughtered without people even knowing what the story is. And then there was some people, which I was thankful, was talking about the double standards when it comes down to domestic violence in men, and how people were just like, just saying all kind of stuff because you want to automatically take up for, say, the female side. And I'm like, that's just unfortunate because men have, go through domestic violence as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. A lot of my real close friends, I know these guys. Like I know these guys like 20, over 20 years. Like I've seen some of their proof. And it's a situation you get put in a situation, do you go file something like that? Do you go do something like that? But if you don't do it first, and it's definitely hard for like a Black man to be like,
that's right,
to go there.
Yeah.
But if you don't do it first, like you're done. And if you don't make all of the right moves, you're done. You can be stuck in a situation like that for 5, 10, 15 years where you're,
it follows you.
Yeah. And you got to also realize that abuse comes in all different forms, whether it's verbal, emotional, it doesn't necessarily have to be physical. It could be in all different kinds of forms.
But the only time I think a man is probably going to go is when he's getting punched, and then she can also flip it. She can flip it on him and be like, you're the aggressor. you know,
Mm-hmm.
and who are they going to believe, you know? I've, I've seen close friends of mine say, I mean, you know, their girls pretty much say like, who do you think the police is going to believe? Like me, you know, me or
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
you know.
It's
And if
unfortunate.
they're, you know, and if they're, you know, a white or brown woman, you know, you're close to white, you know, you know,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
done, you're finished.
Yeah.
Depends on which
Yeah.
state you're in. But,
I think men in general have, when it comes to a topic like this, we have everything going against us, you know. So
right.
it's definitely good that, you know, you talk about it.
Hmm.
It's you know, there are a lot of men that are victims and they have no voice
Yeah.
because we're constantly getting shut down. So, you know, it's great that you incorporate this with your music, um,
Definitely.
and and a lot of other things. So what else influences? What other influences had made this album happen?
Basically, being in a situation where you know, you've been in this band for all these years, and I've been like the go-getter, you know,
Okay.
like I watched my dad, you know, when the light man came to cut off the light, you know, he cut them back on. When they climbed up the pole and cut them off, you know, up there, you know, he climbed up the pole and then cut them back on. When they came and took the meter, you know, my dad had another meter, you
I
know.
know that's right.
And
Right.
so ain't no stopping me, you know. You can't tell me no. But being in a band and having that attitude, there's a lot of things that come with that too.
Okay.
You know, when something goes wrong, they're gonna come down on you the hardest because you're the toughest and you're like the bulldog of the group. You know what I mean? And
Okay.
so you're gonna get the accountant can bounce checks, you know, by not depositing the money into the right accounts and nothing ever happened. But the minute you do something, like they
Right.
on your ass. You know, excuse my language. Can I?
No, that's fine. That's
You're
fine.
all
Okay,
good.
yeah,
You're all good.
yeah. So as soon as you do something wrong, they're, you know, you're not gonna get that break.
Okay.
You know.
So Rick, I know that a lot of the band's music had major influences from Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Can we find that in your new project? Are you carrying those influences? Because I know you said you wrote "Believe in Us," and I was like, wow, that's heavy Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. You know, the
You
influence.
know, actually, they they really them were some of the baddest dudes in the world, but like Mint Condition wrote all of their own music, and so
Mm-hmm.
Minneapolis period was an influence, but we also, you know, the keyboard players, they listen to Herbie Hancock, and you know,
Mm.
Jeff plays keyboards and horn, you know, Charlie Parker, and so that's why Mint Condition was a mixture of a bunch of different stuff. Jamming them was definitely like Carrie was probably really into them, you know, a lot, you know. And of course, you know, the time, like Prince did the first two Time albums,
Yeah.
you know, and played
Mm-hmm.
like all of the instruments. So he was definitely an influence. So yeah, those,
I
you
mean,
know,
that whole Minneapolis vibe is just dope. I mean, when we're talking real music, when we're talking about instruments and putting the vocals together and the arrangement, it's
mm,
like the genius of music. A lot of it, that Minneapolis sound,
Mm-hmm.
definitely has, and you can hear it in the
Mm-hmm.
music. You
oh
know.
yeah, definitely.
And
Oh yeah,
you guys got your start, if I'm not mistaken, from HBCU radio.
yep.
Because I
And,
believe, if I'm not mistaken, Breaking My Heart, I remember came out on WHUR at Howard University, and I went to Howard University at the time, and that was, oh my God, that was
yeah,
everything when it came out.
definitely. We were like, okay, we came out with Are You Free? Are You Free didn't free us. And so we ended up, and so A&M Records were definitely thinking about like not spending any more money on the record.
Mm-hmm.
And Jam and Lewis was like, why don't y'all go, you know, go across country and in a Winnebago, and we'll just thank everybody for playing our record, and we will give them Pretty Brown Eyes. And so we gave them Pretty Brown Eyes, and then Pretty Brown Eyes started going down the charts once we released that record. And then, you know, the DC area picked it up, and then the next thing you know, San Francisco, New York, and then we had like a #1 record over #1 in sales over Michael Jackson was #2. What Remember the Times, and Prince Diamonds and Pearls was #3. Yeah.
Wow. You know,
every time you all came to the Birchmere, I was there.
Oh, really? Definitely.
The Birchmere.
I've seen y'all twice. Once with you, right, Lika?
Yep, that's right. Birchmere.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. You know, that place has a special. You know, it's definitely like a special part of our life, a special part of our career. The guy that broke our record, I can't remember his name, but he had this move that he would do, and it would be like he'd be like rocking like this, and he's no longer with us, but you know, he definitely broke the record in that market. That was his market, the whole East Coast, and he delivered. You know?
And I remember the first time I saw you guys were at BB King's in Manhattan, and you guys toured down. And then the second time was at Birchmere, and this is after Prince had passed. So you guys had did a whole Prince tribute. And I think DJ Celos, you seen them do a Prince tribute too, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So I mean, phenomenal. So now with this new project, with this new project, Pray is on this new project?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I know the whole George Floyd thing happening and stuff. So I guess, you know, some of that had something to do or influenced you with that song.
Actually, you know what? It didn't, but the video it did. Like that song, I knew I wanted to release that song first because I'm an activist, you know, here. But I started in 2015. There was a gentleman named Jamar Clark. He was handcuffed and shot in the head, you know, by Minneapolis PD. So we've been saying that Minneapolis is like vicious, you know, like years ago, you know, and so now everybody else, you know, knows it. I mean, I've called some of the biggest names, you know, people that be on CNN and people that have the, you know, their online thing that they, you know, tell everybody what's going on. You know, I called them a few years ago and was trying to get them to help, you know, get some people elected here, and you know, couldn't get a hold of nobody. Maybe, or maybe I should have called Common to get a hold of the person. You know, you know, to kind of help out. But then right after that, everybody was like, yeah, maybe we need to get, you know, people in office and local, you know, and stuff like that. And I was like, man, like, okay, that's great, y'all doing that now, but we needed that help a long time ago. And and it was hard to get, you know, it was hard to get all these people with these, you know, with all these millions of followers that, you know, about the Black, you know, power to kind of, you know, to kind of help out.
Well, you got it now. You got it tenfold, because they're out there and they're marching, and it's made such a change in the community. The young lady that we interviewed last week, Dior Ashley Brown, she even said, you know, people are now getting hired for positions that they never was considered for before because of all the changes that, you know, the death of George Floyd made and stuff like that, and all happening right there.
Yeah, but it's definitely, well, he changed the world. Yeah. Because there's a ton of people that I know, I used to talk to, they used to, you know, I used to post stuff and they would be like, well, you know, all Black, you know, all police officers are not bad and all that. But now they're like, you know, Black Lives Matter, this and that, this and that, now all over this site and stuff like that. And then there's you know, there's some people who is, you know, pimping the situation too.